IRS since it was so new. And so if there was that time period and you're losing your marbles, wondering where it is, I think that is good to know because I'm going through it, but it's starting to roll in.
And can you share what you're able to do with your own family, particularly that you can thank the ERC project for specifically?
Yeah, I was kind of at my wit's end with my kids' school a couple of years ago. And I made the choice to put them in private school. And with my income, I got zero assistance at all. But because of this, I was able to do it without it really affecting us too much. So both of my kids are in private school now, and that would not have been possible without this.
I appreciate you sharing that. Because I know you do have to go to whip the kids, but they're in volleyball for parents versus kids. But guys, and when I say it's halftime, just so you know where Betty's at, and she's waiting for her biggest cases still to hit, but she's had 10 cases already paid out $5.2 million. And that is exactly where she wants to be halftime, halfway through for Lincoln's crew. So Betty, thank you for sharing that. So again, welcome. You. You bet. Thank you again for chiming in from the field there. So I appreciate that. Guys, the length of this project, like I said, we would have been wrapping this up. Lincoln's going to talk a little bit about some changes that were out of our control, but somehow we course corrected and reacted to. But I want to give you an idea of the scope of this project. When Rhino Financial brought this, guys, and we went, crazy across the country, last January of 22, we weren't able to file a single case because of course it takes weeks and weeks to get a case to the finish line. Compare that to this January where we filed 97 cases for 33 million. Last January, we finally got eight across the finish line for 2.7 million. This February, 112 cases got done for 43 million. March was 117 for 48 million. April was 119 for 49.6 million. So quarter over quarter, guys, last year we did 6 million in quarter one, 44 million in quarter two, 60 million in quarter three. We hit 100 million in quarter four, but this year, $148 million in quarter one and process actually filed cases because of Rhino's leadership, guys. So thanks for everybody on this call that did every single flyer drop, call, talk, conversation, Zoom, follow up, everything you did. So it's working, guys. It absolutely is working. There's a little bit of patience that we didn't know at the first, when we first started this thing, it's a little longer of a life cycle to get paid, but I promise you it's worth it. My famous saying from a year ago, guys, is that this is not going to pay your mortgage this month or next month or 3 months from now, but it could actually pay off your mortgage by the time this project's done. And I don't just mean that figuratively. I mean, very literally, guys, this can actually pay off your house. So phenomenal job, everybody that's already doing this. I mean, I'm just rattling off. Let me see, we got Wanda Kewington, Wendy Sybil Wright, Brady Pulver, Terry Sudi, Tracy, Jackie, Grant Ewing, a lot of folks at White Wing, Mary, Dawn, Paul, Nancy, we got Sue, Kristen Vincent, Shana White, a couple Patty, Steve, Kevin Murray, Tracy Reeves, Sam Spalding, Mike Fowler, Rick Mack, LaQuanda, Jamie and Nick, Zachariah, John Dustling, Jenna Thayer, Mary Hogue, Walt Green, Ray Davis, Laura DeMarzo, Taco Tremenio, Josh Crawford, Ethan Herbeck, Melissa Lynch, Josh P. Pincus. Guys, those are just some of the people that have been paid for cases already. I'm excited to say that the last 2 weeks, my office has paid out $156,000 in commissions in about the last 12 days. Christy, can you attest to that fact? You helped me mail out every one of them, right? Right, she's shaking her head. She want to come off mute, but that's all right. But guys, this is getting really, really, really fun. So, but I want to kind of bring this back. I'm going to go over some updates on this, but I want everybody on this call early on to appreciate a few things. One is one of my favorite people in the world is Lincoln. Lincoln Behringer is I can't think of somebody I like more than him right now. I'm telling you, but he's been a visionary, been a good friend of mine for the last few years, but he saw this thing for what it was. I mean, I literally thank God that I was able to conceive the vision and jump in it with him and side by side. But a lot of people don't know. There's a lot of companies out there that do ERC, But our secret weapon is really what his team does at Rhino Financial behind the scenes, in addition, in conjunction with what George does behind their scenes. We have a powerhouse team, but he hired Jason's a phenomenal senior vice president working in his office. Caleb is what we call a red reds. All those people that are got an intake form but haven't paid or signed, he's calling all those guys. You don't even know the work they're doing behind the scenes. On the other end of it, I know, Brian, you're anxious. We have a record, guys, a record case of $10.3 million. That is the record. I called George today. That is the record so far that Damon said he knew of. Todd is all over them to make sure they get the 941X sign. Okay. But I mean, that is a 6-figure commission that Brian's looking at, guys, on one case. I mean, this is outrageous and it's fun. It's exciting. But guys, those are the things that Lincoln does behind the scenes. You guys know the crews I promote. That is all Rhino Financial behind the scenes. Work hard, play hard. But Lincoln, if you can chime in and just kind of share some of the things you do behind the scenes, what did happen with the IRS, some changes they made, and how we had to course correct, and give us an update on that cruise, if you would, Lincoln.
Johnny, you know, the way that you open your meetings means a lot to me. I hope it does. I saw in the chat, others are thankful for that. And man, it's a lot bigger than what's going on this call, but we do give the glory up for sure. Hey, listen, the man, the myth, the legend that just had a chance to start this call. I see how many people are on this call. Many of you probably don't know him all that well. Some of you know him very well, but he's a blessing in your life. He's been one for not just myself, but my kids. They talk about him quite often. And I would encourage you guys on or offline to make sure that you ask for a smile, because he has some of the worst jokes you'll ever hear in your life, back to back to back to back. And I see many of you already shaking your head, and it gets so crazy nonsense that you can't help but not to laugh at these jokes. Hey, I'm only going to spend a few minutes with you guys tonight, but I think it's going to be really important, the information. Please dial into the next few moments here, because we're working tirelessly for you. I'm hiring on more and more people to help you all, and we don't want any of the credit. We just want to help you. You might not even know our names. I don't even care if you know my name. I just want to help behind the scenes to make sure that you don't miss something right now. First of all, Johnny, thank you. Not just for everything that you do, but for your friendship and being just a incredible human being and a model and a leader for others to emulate. Second, listen to this. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. Did you hear Betty? She is sending her kids to private school and can keep them in because of this. Let me tell you a few others. Some are on this line, some are not on this line right now. There are people that have lost their retirement. We go all the way back to 2008 when that happened. And then we had another crazy pandemic that happened. There were people that had their money invested in this or that. Some people made a lot of money, and then they lost a lot of money. We have had people already rebuild their retirement over the past 14, 15 months because of this project. I told my wife when the pandemic hit, this is the worst thing that we're probably ever going to see. However, you know what? We're going to help people get wealthy, and we're going to help many, many people not just get wealthy. We're going to help others change their lives for the positive because of this crazy pandemic that happened. We can't ignore that. This is pandemic driven, and you guys are sitting right now in a seat that can absolutely transform your incredible life already. So listen, we have pastors, and I spend the majority of my time right now with nonprofits, foundations, associations, and especially ministries right now. There are senior pastors of big churches out there that do not make much money. You think they would, but they don't. They're now already funding their kids' college educations and forming foundations and these cool things that are happening because of this project. You know, a wise man once told me, whether you think big or think small, you're not going to get a big pain in your head if you start thinking a little bit bigger. That's my challenge to you today as I go through what we're going to do. And Johnny wanted me to run through what we're doing for you guys. But listen, think incredibly large right now, because number one, you're not going to get any sharp pain in your head. Number two is that if you are not thinking about making $1 million, $2 million, $3 million right now in the next 12 months, maybe you've never made 3 million in 12 months before. You're thinking too small. You guys are all very, very talented right now, maybe even 4 million, maybe even 4.5. There's time left. And I want you to think really big. And here's my biggest challenge to you is stop thinking about your darn self. You got to think about others. Get yourself out of the way and just start giving and giving and educating. And the great thing is the process that we've set up and that Johnny really gravitated towards, you guys don't even need to do that much at the end of the day here. You're getting very highly compensated for setting the exact time and the exact date to help a client, a friend, an associate, a business out that really, you don't have to be on the call. We'd love to have you, but you don't have to be. So here's what we're doing after you set those calls up. Sometimes they don't pay, sometimes they don't engage. I've hired a full-time individual who right now, this might not sound like a big deal, but he's made 784 calls because I'm already running long. I'm sorry, Johnny, I start talking. So 784 calls for those individuals, those business owners that had an educational session. Some people call it a presentation. I like to call it an educational session. And they didn't pay, they didn't engage. Some of these are dating all the way back to July of last year. And you know what they're telling us? I didn't know if we still had time to do that. We forgot about the presentation that happened. It sat in their inbox, and now we're getting them to move forward. We now are at a point where we have 17 new cases. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but 17 that have paid and engaged, but some of these haven't heard from anybody for months and months and months and months. That equates to roughly about $35 million. And you guys in your own industries knows that's not just chump change. That's 35 million that we could have let the government decide what to do with the money, or we can put that back in our communities. In addition to that, we're also calling on all of what we refer to as the 3A list, which means that your clients, your clients have signed the agreement with Jorns, but they just have not paid the deposit yet. My office out of Roanoke, Virginia is calling every single one of them to make sure that they understand that they haven't paid yet. And many of those are going into a secondary presentation where they signed the agreement, but they didn't know if they wanted to really continue on in the process. So my staff is giving a secondary presentation to the majority of those. And there are dozens and dozens and dozens, if not over 100 or two, that have now been represented to help you guys out. You may not know that's going on. I think it's pretty cool. The next thing we're doing is I have another individual that is calling what we call the 3B list. Those are the people that paid, they actually paid the deposit, but for whatever crazy reason, they have not signed the agreement yet. Those are pretty easy ones, by the way, but if they don't sign the agreement, the process does not begin for them to qualify or not. And then this is the most fun one right now, because boy, Betty nailed it on the head. And it's going to be my last topic of today, which is this process takes a little bit longer than anticipated for everyone. In the Bible, it talks about patience being a virtue, right? It's a fruit. It's a fruit, and it's a delicious fruit, but you got to wait for it to mature. And patience is so very, very important. But what we do is we have an individual, his name is Todd. He calls every single one of your clients that gets a 941X in their inbox. For whatever reason, sometimes they miss the email, sometimes they have other questions, sometimes their CPAs have questions. What my office does is we get on the horn with the CPA, we'll get on the horn with the client again. We'll make sure that all of their questions are answered to make sure they're 100% comfortable and confident with the clients that you know and love, that they're taken care of. Because I know one darn thing for sure is over the past couple of decades, another great mentor of mine said, if you take care of the client, your life will be absolutely amazing if you get yourself out of the way and make sure that you treat that client incredible. That's what we're trying to do at Rhinofin Consulting. Hey, because of all of this, Johnny, I think you wanted me to mention this. We have an incredible cruise going on. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I get more excited about it every single time I get on the horn. And the bill, by the way, keeps going up because we keep adding things. I can't help myself because it's that exciting. But the IRS is just taking a very, very long time to get these processed right now, especially in two categories. If you're like me that spends their time in the nonprofit space with ministries, etc., if they receive $25,000 per period, which is defined as per quarter, it goes into a secondary review now. Those churches we're helping out, those foundations, anything that's 501c3, that can take up to 10 months for that client to receive their money. Okay, you got to control the controllables in anything you do in life. We can't control that. It's up to the IRS. A second category, and Johnny, that 10 million is the record, by the way. Good googly moogly. That's a big one. That one right there took a while to come through, and here's why. If a client receives over 200,000 per period, also defined as per quarter, typically happens in the 2021 quarters, they're going to go into secondary review. And here's what I did not want to have happen with the cruise that Johnny's mentioned, is that people miss out on it that should have qualified because of the IRS. That's not fair to you guys. So we've now extended that, and I'm sure that, Johnny, you've promoted the cruise. I hope you certainly have. It's an amazing one. And it's on the Norwegian Cruise Line. It's on the Haven. When we say it's butler service, it's not like butler service. You have your own butler. There's private areas for every show that you're going to go to where your front seat, they take you down the staff elevator to every single one of the shows. If you want caviar at 2:30 in the morning, I'm looking at Juanita and Wanda and Fred and Gary, Sue. I see you smiling, Sue. You're going to get it. I see you wave there. You want caviar at 2:30 in the morning, you're going to get it. So you have your own private butler. So that this is important to me. Everybody here, we might not know each other, but the cruise was designed for us to all come together, because you know what? This is a short-lived project. It is a very short-lived project. So we extended the opportunity to qualify. And Johnny, I think I'm going to let you go over the fine details of that. But everybody on this call can still qualify if you already haven't. We've already had people that have qualified for this. But what I will tell you in closing, as I turn it back to you, JB, what you can do in the next 4 to 6 months, and I know I've asked you to listen. Now I'm going to ask you to listen one more time. What you can do in the next 4 to 6 months is what you have done in your lifetime. I know that sounds crazy. It goes back to that, whether you think big or small, you're going to think one way or the other. You're going to either get busy or you're going to get busy the other way, doing exactly what you did. So if you get focused into what you're dealing with, this is going to be over. We got 6 more months, 6.5 months to file for 2020. We've got 1 year and 6 months to file for 2021.
Okay.
There's plenty of daylight left. Here is what I will tell you for those of you that maybe have just heard about the employee retention tax credit through Jorns. And by the way, that is the right partner. Got to be very careful who you partner with on this project, because we've got it down. We've got a direct with the IRS. It's a beautiful thing. But what you can do in the next 4 to 6 months can build your retirement up. It can pay for your kids or your grandkids' college educations. It can send kids to private school. It can do all of these things that you've ever wanted. And I know that we've got Anthony Cungton. Johnny, if you can mute Anthony, there we go. But the story is this, and the reason and usually I don't call people out to mute them. I need you to hear this. And it's because I'm so passionate, because I've seen it dozens and dozens of times. Ladies and gentlemen, you're here for a reason. Everything in your life happens for a reason, a purpose. It will serve you. You're on this call for a reason right now, because the next 4 to 6 to 12 months can't just change your life. It potentially will create a legacy for everything that you've ever imagined in your mind. But you got to get busy. And you know what? This is not difficult, because Johnny and Rhino Fin, I'm not going to say it's me, it's my staff. We do all the heavy lifting for you, all of it. I want to see all of you on the cruise. I want to say that there are many, many blessings on those that are hearing my word tonight. I think many of you probably already zoned out, but for those that are still listening intently and purposely, I hope that you heard me, because I don't want it to be from me. I hope the Holy Spirit's grabbing you guys right now, so you understand that this is a big, big, big opportunity, much bigger than any of us, much bigger than any of us. So JB, thank you for all your dedication. Thank you for your friendship once again. I'm going to turn it back to you. Hopefully I covered what you wanted me to cover. I'll stand by.
You did, Lincoln. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate everything you do behind the scenes, day in, day out. I know we talk around the clock, and this has been a fun project, and it's ain't over yet. We're about half done. So phenomenal. Guys, but you heard it. This is working. And all those numbers I just gave you, he's the one that does all this reporting behind the scenes. I can't tell you how much support you have that other companies don't give you. There's other companies you can go to. If you want to become an ERC expert, it will take you a long time to learn everything. And you might do a few cases, but this is such a turnkey operation. What CBS and what Rhino Fin do, it just lets you be a matchmaker, a bird dog, and go make, guys, he said the word millions. That is real. Don't think that's a figurative number or tongue in cheek. Literally millions. There's people that are on this call that will make money with 2 commas in it on this project. I already know it. Okay. But just again, not to hear it from me, to win his cruise, as you know, that means 20 clients have to receive ERC money that they wouldn't have if you didn't introduce them to Jorns and then Rhino and this information, in this great opportunity, and 10 million to your clients. That's 10 million into your communities that would have gone elsewhere. But guys, that means if you do the math, that means you made at least a measly 6 figures on the side doing this. That means you probably spent the 19-minute Zoom with me or one of my presenters once every couple of months, okay, over the life of this project, or maybe once every 3-4 weeks. You're not, certainly weren't a full-time ERCer by any means. But guys, 20 cases, 10 million, get you on this cruise. Listen, just to make sure, I keep test driving these the Haven on these ships. I just went on a cruise 2 weeks ago. I went on one in November. I have another one scheduled September, and another one I just found out, my wife told me, in I forget when after that. But guys, the Haven, it's royalty on the seats. If you guys aren't familiar with the trip, I promoted it on all the regional trainings and calls. Guys, I gained 9 pounds in 1 week on the Haven when I did it a couple weeks ago. You are spoiled to death. Your own private massage person, your own butler, your own sauna, your own hot tub, your own private bar and restaurant. You can go anywhere on the ship, but nobody can come see you because you're in the Haven. When you go on an airplane and you're walking sideways trying to lug your bag between all those people in first class, they have the big cushy seats. They already had a nice warm washcloth handed to them to wipe themselves down, and they already have a cocktail in their hand. And you're trying to, oh, excuse me, trying to pile your way and get stuff in the overhead bin because you're in row 33A. Imagine being in first class of that airplane for the entire trip, okay, for a week or whatever, guys. That's what it's beyond that, but it's the only way I can kind of explain it. It's like being first class on an airplane, totally spoiled for an absolute week. So thanks to Rhino Fin for that. Again, because it's not me, I want to highlight some people that have done this. I'm not sure if Phil Harrell's on the call, but he's already had Actually, I just sent him another check. So he's had 6 cases across the finish line, been paid for $2 million. So nice job, Phil. Eddie, one of my presenters as well. His personal cases, 9 cases for like $1.6 million. Ann, are you on the call by chance? I know she had a 6:30. She might not be able to. She has 3 cases for 2.7 million, guys. Some big ones came in for her. So kudos to you. John Romero could not make this call. He has a wrestling class he's teaching, but 19 cases at $6 million. Okay,
Wow.
we have a special on this call. Sue, are you on the line?
Yeah.
Okay, can you share, if you're comfortable with it, can you share the largest check I've written you so far? How much was that for?
I don't remember the exact total, but it's 74,500.
Okay, I hope you guys heard what she just said. One of the checks I wrote Sue so far is for $74,000, guys. Did that change your life at all, Sue?
Yes, very much so. I
She's now
became an LLC and an S corp.
Fantastic. Well, so I appreciate you. I'm gonna just brag on her. She's been my prayer partner through this because she just beat the C word, guys. She beat cancer. She beat the crap out of it, overcame it, brought this great opportunity to people in her community all over the great state of Texas and elsewhere. And I was so thrilled to, at the time, so far, that's a record that stands. Now, Brian on this call has one case that may trump that at 10.3 million, but great job, Sue. So you're a champion for sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I don't think Brianna's on the call can make it. She has 5 checks she hasn't even cashed yet, guys, each for like $2,000 to $3,000 each. Jeremy, 15 for 5 million. Eric Nothnagel, I think I saw your name on the call, correct? Eric, you there?
I'm here.
All right. Can you tell people, is this real?
The checks are coming in. It was a lot of effort for sure, and now it's just kind of watching them go through the process and then trying to find new ones.
Guys, Eric has several. I mean, if you think you're anxious for your clients to pay, he's got about a half a dozen for 1 million, 2 million, 4 million, 4 million. Believe me, he's as anxious as anybody, but the checks are coming, like you said. I appreciate it, Eric. Keep doing what you're doing, man, because it's working. That's awesome. Let's do one more. John Lecklider. This is a person who was ahead of the game at halftime. Actually, just paid him for another one. 16 cases, 5.4 million. John, is this real?
Oh, it's real, Johnny. Everything's going great. Keep them checks coming.
Yeah, you bet, man. My hand hurts writing you so many checks every week, so that's awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate all your efforts out there. Here's one of the guys. Here's one of the people early on that was naive enough to believe that this freaking thing could work, basically. And thank God you saw that vision and you have, shared it to everybody else. Continue doing what you're doing. You're leading it from the front. So I appreciate that. I want to take a moment, guys, to kind of go through what I call the process. You've heard of the drive for 5. I want to explain it a little bit different way tonight. And that's like a baseball diamond. Okay. Anytime you want to update on your cases, I've done one-on-ones and they're so much more fun now than they were 6 months ago, because I'm telling you the good news that they're almost across the finish line. They just filed or they're about to get their check. It's been pretty cool, but you call me, text me anytime and we'll do one-on-ones and I'll give you specific information of all your cases, where they're at. Again, you cannot share that information with your client. We have to respect client privilege. We don't want to jeopardize this, of course. And some of you might be, if you've heard this a lot of times, forgive me, but just to say this, when I tell you that your client's about to get to $2.3 million, you cannot go to your client and say, great news, I heard you're getting $2.3 million. You cannot do that. You have to respect client privilege. That is for your sake, so you can budget, plan, get excited about what's coming in. I can tell you what stage they're at, but it's not so that you can get involved and start getting payroll. You can't do that. You're not a CPA. Okay, this frees you up to go do your enrollments, make money doing whatever you do. That's what CBS does. That's what Rhino Financial does. That is what Jorns does. Between the 3 entities, we're doing all those tough, that you don't even know, follow-ups with that paperwork, or that tough board of directors meeting you didn't even know we did after the fact, or that follow-up with the CPA, or the CFO had some tough questions, or Todd making sure they get the 941X across the finish line. From start to finish, guys, we're doing all that. So all you have to do is be that matchmaker. But just to explain this, I think it's the easier way to understand it. Your client is assigned an onboarding specialist when they start the process. Your job is to book the appointment on the Zoom. My presenter will do that 19-minute Zoom with them, get them educated. Like Lincoln said, it's a great word, educated on the opportunity. And then we send them that intake engagement letter, that welcome letter, a place to sign the agreement, a place to pay the deposit. It still is up to you to follow through unless they've paid and engaged. Now, please, if I have to resend a welcome letter, that is a request I love to get every day, all day, 5, 10, 14, 19 sometimes. I'm resending the welcome letter. Let's make sure it didn't end up in their spam. Let's make sure we got that email correct, etc. Because once they pay and engage, then you can wipe your hands, go back to work, go on vacation, go on your road trip, and let Rhino, CBS, and Jordan's do everything that we do behind the scenes, okay? But you have to get them to that point, let them sign and pay. Then the onboarding specialist is going to work with them, hold their hand, and help them collect all of their documents that we need. An awful lot of payroll from certain quarters in 2 different years, the corresponding 941Xs. The questionnaire has to be filled out to give us the ammunition of what strategy we're going to use to qualify that company. We need the forgiveness detail, so make sure we're compliant, don't double dip. That onboarding specialist will get them what's called fully onboarded. That is called first base. Once that OS has them fully onboarded, it gets handed off to the Excel team. Think of second base, straight across. I'll answer your questions in a minute, Tom, I will. But when it gets to second base, that's the Excel team. They're the ones that crunch the numbers. They do all the figuring, all the compliance, all the reallocating, the PPP amounts, making sure we're not double filing, double dipping, whatever. That's what they do. They get all the numbers, all the payroll accuracy, making sure there's not an aggregate that doesn't disqualifies them, etc. Once they're done with what they do, we're going to third base, and that is scoring position for sure. Going from second to third base, they hand it off to the line 43 team. Please understand that is the secret weapon or the superpower that Jordan's has. They're going to write a document, a book for your client, easily 80, 90, 100 pages long. We've seen it up to 1,200 pages long, and it's not boilerplate. They're citing every chapter and verse in their community, city, local level, region level, state level, national COVID restriction, every supply chain issue they went through, the cleaning protocols, expenses. We're writing an audit proof document like a fortress, so that much more important to us is if they get this money, they never ever have to give it back. Now I'm getting ahead of myself, but great news, guys. The IRS has reviewed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of our cases, and they have not rejected a single case. That means we are 1,000%. Nobody bats 1,000%, right? Jordan's has not a single case has been rejected from the IRS, which actually audit proofs us they've already done that review, much less likely to get audited on the back end. But that's why we're not trying to be the fastest. We are just being the most thorough. But that's what line 43 does, guys. That's a third base team. And sometimes they ask for a little more information at the very end. That's a good thing. We're just trying to beef up that report as much as possible to maximize that. But now from third base to home plate, that's when we send them a 941X. Doc prep team gets that ready. The client signs off on it. And then our senior CPA team sign that. That's different than a lot of other firms. Some of you have heard the story that beginning of the year, when the IRS announced that any 941X not signed by a CPA, not just was likely, but would in fact be audited. If you haven't heard this, you need to. There was a firm that had processed $1 billion in refunds, okay? But when the IRS announced that, they closed their own doors, and they didn't sell Jones their business. They handed them $1 billion book of business and said, you need to requalify everybody. We didn't do that. We just filed for the max. Their marketing campaign is, we'll get you the biggest refund the fastest. They didn't have a single CPA in-house. As scary as that sounds, they were just paper pushers filing for the max, assuming that if a couple people got audited, they would just pay them enough money to make them be quiet and go away because they were making their millions. Once the IRS announced that every one of their clients are going to be in trouble, they handed it to Jordan's to redo the correct way, close their own doors, and ran for the hills. Guys, we are doing this correct. And to our knowledge, we're one of 3 firms in the country. I think it's Alliance, Regency, and Jorns, but the 3 firms that are doing this correctly with that qualification report. But guys, that is the fortress that protects your client. Very important. But then from doc prep to signing that 941X going out, once the IRS has it, we are all done. Everybody's literally just waiting for their check. And that is the cool part, but it can cause some anxiety because we have checks out there. Eric probably has 4 giant ones from last July. I'm talking about all of them have multiple commas in these checks, right? Coming to the clients. But the good news is some of them are getting faster, but I tell people it's going to be somewhere between 7 weeks and 7 months. If it's not real big, if it's $1 million, it's 9 months anyways, 9 months to a year. I know Betty had to jump, but the good news is we just had one of her cases filed on February 12th, I think. She just got paid for that, guys. $1,060,000. And I just gladly wrote her that commission check of whatever that was. Yes, she just got 10,500 this week again from that case. So guys, this is very, very exciting stuff. But once it's off to the IRS, nothing we can do. That they announced, which is actually in our favor, that they're doing an extra review at the IRS end, which can add 3 months of the time frame. Some of you that are getting paid your first cases, and it might seem like the checks are a little smaller than you thought. That's because you'll see in the right-hand corner which quarters are still remaining. There might be 6 or even 7 quarters we found out they qualify for. You might be getting paid for 1 quarter or 2 quarters or 3 quarters. Some of you have been paid for three different times for the same client. That's piecemeal, but we'll take it when they come in. But you don't have to worry about it. But guys, that's first base, onboarding, second base, the Excel team, third base is line 43, and then we cross home plate. And in between that baseline, that's where Todd's making sure they got their 941X, they know what it is, they sign it, they return it. That's all email. We physically mail it after our senior CPA signs off on it, and then you're done, guys. And then, oh, happy day. Promise you, like Eric and Betty and everybody else, Sue just confirmed, this is real. John, you guys will get paid for this. I see Carter on the call. Again, he was same anxiety as all of us guys, but he's been paid his first couple cases. He just got word, I think yesterday, that another client just got their money. Oh, happy day. Phil knows of 4 of the clients. Guys, Lysandra, Stephanie Rishti, Lynn Kemper, Wendy, Crystal, Jeff, Carter, Tim Wakeman, Ed Keenan, Mike Ottmer just got his first big check with 5 figures in it. Maria, Patty, Joanne, Joe Colarco's had 7 pay already. But Karen Holloway, Alex Diaz, Jen, Truesdale has quite a few, Darlene, Jeremy, guys, so many of you have, those are all people that have been paid 2, 3, 7, 9 cases already. This is very, very real, but don't have any regrets. I'm going to mention something. It's not a scare tactic. It's just a real tactic. On the floor of the Senate right now, in the Congress, is kind of a stonewall because they're talking about this debt ceiling, right? There's talk about possibly making some cuts on things. I don't know of anything, but it has going to come up in conversation, the debt ceiling affecting ERC. That won't affect anything that's already filed, okay? Even if they announce it today, they will probably say as of November 15th or whatever it is, there'll be a date. As of now, we have till April 15th of 2025 to file, at least for the big year. Again, we can't do a Zoom that day, guys. We have to probably do it around the holidays next year so that Jones can do everything they do behind the scenes along with Rhino and get it across the finish line. We probably have 7.5 months this year, maybe 10 months next year. So just give this all we got, okay? If it ends being sooner than that, at least have no regrets, and hopefully it won't. I don't think it will. If you had me bet on it, I would say probably not. But just realistic, guys, have a sense of urgency. Don't wait. Also, an awful lot of clients that Lincoln mentioned that saw a Zoom a year ago, they've been peppered with text messages. They're seeing it. They get phone calls, voicemails. It's on billboards, ESPN, the radio. The letters ERC is everywhere. But guess what? They know you. Make a follow-up call to that, guys. All these little points they're hearing, that's free advertising for you. They don't know that person on the radio, but they know you. That confirms what we're doing. They live through PPP. They hear ERC on the radio every single day. Give them a follow-up call. Let's get them across the finish line, guys, 100%. I want to mention a couple of things that part of the fruit of this, guys, is a couple strategies we've done. But one is, of course, a lot of Aflac Nation on this call and other carriers. Kathy Reeves thrilled when I was talking to her about a case that got across the finish line. You know, she said to me, I saw her on this line, oh, that must be why they just paid for everybody's dental and vision at the company. They did employer paid dental and vision for all those employees, guys. And she didn't realize it, connecting the dots. Guess what? They had just gotten their ERC check. That is huge. John Lickletter on the call. He shared several cases. Brian Yeagy's team, several cases. Joanne Horrocks. A lot of cases where people have gotten employer paid benefits across this country, guys. That is real. That's not a little thing. That is a huge thing. Also, the flyer drops, guys. Even if you hit your warm market, now what do? Talk to everybody, first of all. I mean, I sat with a guy in the airplane this weekend on the way back from Tennessee, and I'm doing an ERC for his recording company. He's got a few employees. Talk to everybody everywhere all the time. You don't pepper them, you don't hammer them, you don't bug them, but mention what you do for their sake, not for your sake, for their sake. If this thing ended a year and a half from now, and you had a relative that has a restaurant, you never told them about it, and they could have gotten 300,000, shame on you for not telling them about it. If they don't want to do it, whatever, it's up to them, but let that be their decision, not yours, guys, okay? But let's say you've saturated your warm market, even though that will never truly happen, but if you perceived it as, go hit the flyers, guys. You guys have all seen the specialty flyers. We're doing call blitzes. We're talking about expos in a minute, but Justin Bymaster up in New York had left a flyer off with a dental practice. I answered the call yesterday, and we're doing a Zoom for them. Leave those flyers, guys. Hopefully you can book the Zoom right there, but we get all kinds of flyer drops out there that come back to my office. We track every single one back to the referring partner. Joanne Horrocks' case was a small physician office in Florida. I got a call from a Florida number I didn't recognize. It happened to be this guy named Josh, practice manager at a doctor office in Florida. And I did a Zoom for him on the spots. And he ended up getting, I think it was $560,000, $588,000.
Wow.
He hadn't gotten his check yet. But when he got the notice from the IRS that said, you're about to get $588,000, he called Joanne in her district, Maria. She needed help. Get in here. I'm buying Aflac for everybody in the office. He bought, I think it was 4 policies for everybody. During a Power Weeks last June, they wrote just shy of $30,000, all employer paid because of ERC. Now, Josh has since gotten his money, and he's actually referred us to another doctor's office as well, guys. So this is real, even if it's taking a little bit longer. Mike Atmer, your face just came up on the line. Is this real?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Just got my first check, $11,000.
Awesome. I'm very excited for you. I'm more excited for you guys than I am for myself, really, guys, because the only thing that keeps me up at night is people not making money. So I know you're anxious. You've done the work. You've done it. I know there's been frustrations. Okay. Guys, remember, Jones went from 2.5 employees to 430 in a year and a half. How many companies in this entire country's history can say that? How many went from 0 to 6 billion in a year and a half? How many companies in this country can say that? I mean, that's just fun to say that we're a part of that. Okay. I do want to mention, I'm going to do a cash contest in a moment, but I want to mention our drive with expos and trade shows and franchise events and Chamber of Commerce events. If you have any of those that in your area that you want to run, please give me a call. Okay. I will help support it. I will co-sponsor it. And I'll tell you, the magic is we give away a $3,000 cruise to the winner. And how do they win it? By coming by our booth, and we sign up Zoom on the spot. And one of the people that booked the Zoom wins a cruise. Now, guys, well, co-sponsor the event. I'll do 50%. So if that table might cost you $1,000, the cruise is 3,000. That's $4,000. I will split that with you, and I'll pay my own airfare and hotel to get you there and do it with you. And Kelly, you're on the line, I see. How much fun did we have? And what did you do with that grill at our event?
Well, we had way too much fun. No, it was a blast. I'm still getting calls from it. So you guys know, we did some burnt ends. So they were serving dinner out in the hallway. We had a little grill there, and Johnny was cooking up barbecued burnt ends, and the smell overpowered everybody. It was like Popeye opening a can of spinach. They just followed their noses right to the table. We did have fun.
We did. We did. I don't know if you know, Michael Barnes just gave us another client, by the way. I don't know if you knew that or not. We just contracted them, so you know.
Oh, good.
One of the Atlanta owners down there. Guys, there was a place full of molding business owners, and they just came by the booth. A couple of people had already done it, which kind of confirmed it, but they came by. We cube up the meat with little toothpicks like you're in a food court. but his secret weapon was just putting a couple drops of that barbecue sauce on a George Foreman grill, and that smell just wafts. It's like a secret weapon, guys. They come to the table, they have a couple bites of whatever you're cooking. I think you had some kibasas or some bratwurst, whatever it was, but amazing, amazing. So that was fun. Andrea, are you on the line? I think I saw you on the line. Andrea, you there? Andrea Sherman. I just went to, with a few weeks ago in Virginia, guys, we had a chamber event, and it was only a 90-minute window, but during that time, about 200 chamber owners, mostly they represented owning a small business, came through. I think we booked 10 or 12 Zooms out of that, okay? And my travel agent called me yesterday, matter of fact, the winning lady who did the Zoom with us is thrilled to win that free trip. But guys, this is amazing. 2 days ago, with an agent down in Tennessee, I did it was a gospel rock and roll festival, a Christian music festival. We set up a booth and we're talking to people who own churches and businesses. Just there was 15,000 foot traffic coming through. Our biggest client we nailed was another vendor who had a booth with 150 employees. That's a $3 million case, besides all the other dentists we signed up, everything else. So it is fun, guys. If you have an event, call me, let's talk about it. If there's an opportunity there, my company will co-sponsor that event for you. So have fun with it. Like Kelly said, it's just a lot of fun, guys. So work
Hey,
hard. play hard.
Johnny, hey,
Yes.
let me add one more item. And you know, I never do this, but you're talking about sprinkling barbecue sauce and having that aroma go out. One other item, listen to this. We have at least 5 or 6 times every week now where somebody will call in and say, hey, it was Eric or Athmer or Gary or Sue or whomever. You guys don't even realize what's happening. There is a byproduct where your clients are so very excited about what just happened, and then they receive their checks. They're now referring business direct to us. You guys still get credit. You still get paid the exact same thing. And trust me on this, there are clients right now that you will get paid on that you don't even realize are your clients, because integrity is absolutely everything to us. And if you're the one that got the initial client in and it's tied to your name, which is very easy to track, you guys are going to get paid on groups that you didn't even know. Maybe that could become a future client of yours. Talk about that barbecue sauce right there, JB. So, hey, back to you. I did want to let you guys know that because it's happening not once a month, every single day right now. So back to you, JB.
I appreciate you mentioning that. Yeah, I was probably spent a half an hour with Todd the other day from Rhino's office, trying to find out who the referring partner was on a case. And I ended up talking with the owner of the company, then talking to his wife, realized that a lady that works at that company, her husband works for another company who had done ERC and referred it back door. We take the time. We can't enter a case unless we know who the referring partner is, guys. So believe me, sometimes it's tough on us to dig deep. But even if they book that Zoom online and Chuck gets on and does that Zoom for you, we will go backwards. We'll find out, and that will track to you. Okay. So guys, Matt Lilly, you want to call? Matt, you want to call? He might have had to jump off. He was running a energy. He's my energy broker. I've done business with for years. But guys, Matt joined forces with me, I think about last October. I told him about this. Okay. So he hasn't been paid on cases yet. Okay. He hasn't had the fun part quite yet, but he is superhuman. Okay. And I say superhuman. You guys know when I pay you $100 advance for a case, right? So I track how many he does. In the last 4 cycles of advances, I paid him 800, 200, 1600, and 800. So I don't know. That's 34 cases he did in under 2 months, cases that actually paid their deposit, guys. Okay. And that's just 2 months. I mean, he'd done more than that. He did well over 50 to qualify for Rhino's early qualification there, but he had done well over 50 by the time the quarter had ended, guys. And now he's going to be close to 100 personal cases getting across the finish line. He is not here to make a little bit of money, guys. I assure you, he is here to make millions of dollars. Okay. Making this world a better place, making this community a much better place, and just being better off because of what this project has, guys. I think I covered just about everything I wanted to share with you guys. So the flyer, I will answer some Q&A in a second. Tom, go be first on that. But guys, the flyer drops, be a specialist, utilize that. I'll do more sales trainings if you want. We have initiated what's called call blitzes. I'm just gonna ask, just because I see you, Mike, I'm not picking on you, but Mike Abner, can you answer the phone? I want you to pretend you're a daycare owner as a customer of mine. You ready? Ring, ring.
Okay, all right.
Hey, Mike, this is Johnny the Affleck guy. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Listen, I haven't talked to you in a while, but actually, no, I want to do a cold one. I'm gonna do one I don't know, so I'll make it even harder. Ready? Hey, ring, ring. Ring, ring.
Hello, who's this? Hello, who's this?
Hi, Mike. This is Johnny Burgess from CBS over here in Bedford. I haven't a chance to meet you yet, but my company helps daycares and preschools get their ERC money. Did you guys get your checks yet? I was looking to email you a flyer.
No, not yet, but it's, I expect it
that
any
is?
moment now.
Do you know what that is, the ERC?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Okay. All right. One more time. Be one that doesn't know what it is. Okay.
All
I'll
right,
put you on the
okay,
spot there.
okay, yeah.
Okay. I gotta call you one more time. Ready? Ring, ring.
Hello, who's this?
This is Johnny from CBS in Tuftonboro. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. I don't think I've met you yet, but I want to let you know that I'm from right here in town, and my company helps daycares and preschools get their ERC money. Did you guys get your checks yet? We're going to email you a flyer on it.
My what? What is
Um,
ERC? Never heard of it.
ERC. It's kind of like a PPP round 3 for daycares and preschools. I can't
Uh-huh.
guarantee it, but I can probably get you 20,000 per teacher. Just
Wow,
looking to email.
that's amazing, that's amazing. And what is that again? It's I've never heard of it. How come I never heard of it?
It's kind of like PPP round 3. You know the PPP from COVID. There's money
Yeah,
left over.
yeah.
They have to give away, and 90% of daycares actually qualify. What's a good email? I'll send you a flyer. Hopefully it works out. And but I
Yeah,
get an
sure.
email.
They
And then I'll say,
daycare.com.
hey, is there any way you can be? Then I'll say, is there any way you can be in front of your computer for 15 minutes Tuesday afternoon? Just book the Zoom, guys. Okay, but it's a follow-up call. But
Mhm.
we do a call blitz like that. We do it for an hour. If anybody wants to participate on that, text me. Say I'd like to do a call blitz with you.
Mhm.
I do a live one with you first. You'll see a live. We'll Zoom.
Uh-huh.
You'll hear a live customer answer the phone, and I'll book one in front of everybody. And then we all mute our phones,
Mhm.
keep the Zoom so we can fist bump each other. We
Mhm.
dial for an hour, we get back together. I've never had anybody on any of my call blitzes not get a customer take an email during that call blitz during that hour,
Wow.
guys. Okay, so it really does. Okay, I already have people saying yes. So
Mhm.
I got to maximize my time. I don't have a whole lot of hours available during the week, but text me your interest in that, and I will book one. And I can probably take 20 to 30 on each one. So text me if you want to be part of a call blitz, and we'll do it. You can do it in your own community where you are. We'll just do it together on Zoom.
Good. Quick question, Johnny, because I came in later. The extended cruise qualifications and the Power Weeks cash contest. Can you briefly
Yes,
talk about
this is
that?
a contest, and I will send. Chrissy will send this out to everybody.
Okay,
Lincoln has extended his cruise contest, guys. It's still 20 clients receiving $10 million, which means
Okay.
your commission 6 figures at least. Okay.
Mhm.
But it used to be that the clients had to be paid and joined had to receive their fee by March 31st next year.
okay,
Because the IRS added that extension, their extra review for 3 or 4 months, Lincoln has extended that qualification to September 30th of next year. If
Wow.
anybody on here is brand new today, you could still win this cruise, okay? Matt could not win this cruise, could not win this cruise 4 times over if he tried, okay? Because he put so much activity in it. You know what he did? Talked to everybody and did about 2 Zooms a day with us. He just got nuts. Mike, I'm talking to Mike right now. He's done tons of Zooms with us, okay? He just poured it in. You see something on fire, just pour gas on it. So the cash contest, guys, wait, I didn't mention, okay? From now till the end of June,
okay.
book 10 Zooms. You haven't booked yet, but book 10 Zooms, and I'm going to give you $500. Okay. Book another 10 Zooms between now and the end of June, which means you book 20 Zooms. I'm going to give you another $1,000 and book 10 more Zooms, which means you book 30 Zooms over the next 5 or 6 weeks. I'm going to give you another $2,000. That means I'm going to pay you $3,500 to go make hundreds of thousands of dollars, most likely from that, guys. Okay. So anybody on here could do it. Okay. If I gave you $1 million to book 30, could you do it? Yes, you would. Okay. If somebody's life was in danger, if you didn't do 30, you would do it. Okay. Whatever it takes between tonight, May 23rd through June 30th at midnight, book 30 Zooms. I'm going to pay you 500, which you book 10, another 1,000 once you book 20, And I'll pay you another 2,000 once you book 30 between now and the end of June, okay? This is a one-time contest. I probably had lost my mind, but this is fun for me, guys. It really, really is. So I want you guys to realize that you can, okay? Lincoln made people realize that you could win that cruise, okay? I mean, that's what this is, guys. You can go after it and hit it. Just talk to everybody, keep it simple. Don't become an expert, okay? Betty had to jump to that game, but she's getting paid she's been paid 30,000 in the last 2.5 weeks, okay? She made a couple $100,000 from her first 10 weeks of phone calls she did after I did that first Zoom with her, with Brian Yeagy's regional team in South Florida there the morning after Super Bowl Sunday last year, okay? It took some delayed gratification, guys, but she didn't become an expert in ERC. I did every Zoom for her. I really did. She learned how to do it later. She can do them now. But for those first 10 weeks, she did one thing very, very well. Talked to everybody on the planet about ERC, got them involved, and we did the rest. My presentation team closes the case for you. Lincoln's entire consultation team, they do everything behind the scenes to get them to the finish line. Jordan does all the heavy lifting for the CPAs. All you got to do is be a bird dog. Next, make thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and I dare say make millions. Absolutely. So
Hey, Johnny, what was that first level again?
10 Zooms. Okay, book 10 Zooms. Now, disclaimer, you have to be on the Zoom sitting there with us. We'll do the Zoom and run it for you, but the client has to show up. They don't have to qualify. They don't have to pay the deposit, but at least book 10 Zooms that
Started to sound good, everybody.
You froze up, Johnny.
and oh, did I lose my, can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Hey,
can hear you now.
Johnny, you froze up. So 10 Zooms gets them how much and what time frame?
10 Zooms, I pay you $5. John, look, I just wrote it. 10 Zooms, you get $500.
All right.
20
And then
Zooms,
wait,
you get an
just,
additional.
let's stick with 10 for a second because
Yep.
you got to start somewhere. And I'm rudely interrupting you right now, and I'm sorry about that. But with 10 Zooms, what's the time frame for them to do that in?
We have to run the Zoom between now and June 30th.
I'm going to
About
double
5.
that bonus for everybody. Just the first one. 10
Wow,
Zooms.
that's-
And here's why, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to find that this is not about you. It's about helping other people, and they want to hear about this. If we do not properly educate people on this, guess who gets to do with the whatever the heck they want to do with the money is the government. That's where this passion comes from for me. If we don't help people out, the government gets to do whatever they want with this money. It's sitting there. So Johnny, that first one, I'm sorry to cut you off. I want to double that. I need your help on helping me know what that is, but I'm going to double just the first one. You get 10, it's now doubled.
Wow, guys, okay? Guys, if you realize what just happened, that's 5 weeks, guys. That's 2 Zooms a week from now to end of June. And then go have an unbelievable 4th of July weekend because you know you're about to have a pretty nice Christmas, okay? So that's 2 a week. That's if you want to stop. Wow, thank you for doing that. I had no idea you was gonna match me on that, guys. Okay, so that is basically $1,000. We're paying you $100 to book a Zoom that we're gonna run for you. Okay, that's so awesome, okay? But now then my office book another 10, it's an additional 1,000. Book another 10, it's an additional 2,000. So guys, you booked 30 Zooms, you just made $4,000 in 5 weeks. And all you gotta do is that crazy? That's crazy, but I love it. I hope a lot of you do. I hope everybody does it, okay? Because you will make so much money from this thing. You'll believe in it, and then you will ride this thing to the sunset until they say we can't any longer, okay? I like to respect time. I was trying to do an hour. If you have to go, gotta put the kids to bed, whatever you gotta do, I understand, okay? But I do wanna answer some questions, and there was one question, I think that, who was it, Tom had? Whoops. where
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah, I had a question.
Yes.
Just to clarify, you said it earlier on about, okay, so we've had our Zoom. They've now heard the story. it sounded like it's still in our court to keep it moving forward. Is that correct? I'm just want to make sure that I'm clear because I've had several already. And I'm assuming from that point, once they talk to your team, now their follow-up is on your side. But you're saying, is that not correct?
Okay, we do send a tracker to you of your cases that is called red, red, green, green, whatever. They have to sign and pay. If it's green, green, you're done. If it's red, red, mean they didn't sign yet, didn't pay yet. That's still in your court at that point. You can reach out to your client and just say, hey, I remember doing a Zoom with you. Did you have any questions? I want to make sure you got the email. Almost half of the time, it's just they missed the email. Okay, it just ended up in their spam because it comes automated from Smartsheet. It's not afterwards it will be, but the first 2 emails are from Smartsheet, not from joincpa.com. So follow up, or maybe it could be my fault. We're entering this case. Maybe we missed a letter on the email address. So once they sign and pay, then you're done. Okay, so I'm very glad you asked that and clarified that. We're not, after that, we don't want you to get involved. You can't really, you're not a CPA.
Right. Yeah.
We hand them off to the firm. It's like introducing somebody to the lawyer. Once they pay the retainer, they're now that lawyer's client. Okay, that lawyer is going to pay you for a referral fee later, but you can go back to do what you do. So thanks for asking that question. It's very important. Okay.
And then just one other quick thing. I had one case a while back. I was working actually with Betty, and it was a large one. And they apparently paid the fee, went through the process, found that they did qualify, and decided not to go forward, which was a perplexing thing. Is that one of the groups that your team is getting back to say, hey, just want to check in again, make sure, are you sure you don't want to do this? Is that another, because I didn't hear that specific category mentioned.
It's an exhaustive effort. Okay, I mean, it's probably 1 in 20, but there is 1 in 20 that for whatever reason doesn't decide on the front end to do it. Some people, even after the 941X, and they're ready to sign it, they just get cold feet. It may not even be 5% either end, maybe it's 3%, but we do. Todd, that's what it's reason Todd is on that. He's massaging that to get it across the finish line, answering any questions, that kind of thing. So we do what we can, not all the time, but they've gotten so many cases across the finish line that definitely would not have happened by themselves, and that's because of what Rhino Financial does behind the scenes. Great question.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Flyers, yes. If you could, guys, after this recording this, but if you could text me, if you don't have all the specialized flyers, text me, I'll get them to you. Okay. If you want to do the call blitz, text me and we'll set that up for sure. Okay. Any other questions, anybody?
Will we get notification when they've already paid their money and I know they've signed it? Will we get any kind of heads up before they get the approval?
That's
or
when you call.
When they turned in all their paperwork, will we get notification that they did everything?
Not a notification, but that's when I do the one-to-ones. I probably did a dozen of them today. Okay, just going through agents with all their cases where we're at. I see Paul on here. Paul and I spent some time, and there was 2 that still get paperwork in. The rest of them I was telling, hey, they're at third base, line 43. Hey, these 3 just filed. This one has a 941X in the inbox. So I will give you those updates. I can't legally do it in writing, but I will verbally tell you where the cases are at, what you can expect they're going to be getting, etc. So that's just text me, hey, do you have time tomorrow to spend a few minutes to go through my cases? It's like my favorite thing to do during the week. Mike, we do that all the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Very good.
And it used to be not that fun of a phone call, but now it's pretty fun because now he knows it's working, right? So.
Yeah.
But please don't hesitate.
Johnny, do you have any updated flyers? Any
New
new ones?
I'm trying to think if we added any. We added physicians' offices. I know we had dental. If you have an industry you need a flyer for, I mean, there's one that's a catch-all, but the specialist, we have like a dozen. So Chrissy can send you what we do have. But, you know, because of you, we have synagogues, churches, nonprofits. We have the daycare, preschools, garages. We have dealerships. Now we have one for garages. So it really does work.
That would be good. Okay.
We
All right,
get that
great.
to you.
Thank you.
Hey Johnny, is there a website like the one for PVP that shows who's paid? Is there one like that for ERC at all?
Oh, not for
See
ERC.
who's filed?
No, to see who's filed yet? I don't believe so, but let me see if I can read that to you. Guys, what Anthony's talking about, guys, there is actually a website you can go to see if clients have gotten their PPP money. And
And that is it's a huge kind of foot in the door when you already know what they've done in the past, and you can refer to that.
federalpay.org, federalpay.org / I don't give it to you wrong. I'm trying to read my writing on my whiteboard, but I will get it to you correctly. And if you text me that question, I'll get it. But there is a site that you can go to see if they did PPP round 1 and or round 2. Guys, remember, if they did PPP round 1, I almost prefer it because we're only up against 2 things, and one is it sounds too good to be true. But if they already had a significant 6-figure loan magically forgiven, we position this kind of like PPP round 3, so that guard comes down. Okay. But if they didn't, we can get a little more money on our side. So either one's a win. But that is good ammo for you. So thanks, Anthony, for bringing that up. Any last questions, you all?
Nope.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys spending the last hour with me. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be joined arm in arm with all you guys, taking this project to a whole new level beyond what we even imagined at the beginning. I'm a pretty big thinker. But guys, I am definitely more excited now than I was a month ago, a year ago, seeing this thing come to fruition. And I tell you, just all these people I'm rattling off to pay out over $156,000 of commissions in the last 12 days, guys. That is very exciting for me. My favorite thing to do. My thumb hurts from writing all the checks, but it's a labor of love. So I do not plan to stop doing that anytime soon. So I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Think big. Oh, a special shout out for Carol I saw joining us from Guam. So we definitely have about 6,000 miles of representation here. So that is awesome. Great to see you. I saw you on there. You guys are killing it on that little island over there. You guys have done amazing stuff over there. I hate to leave anybody out. I mentioned a lot of you guys, but I've worked with, I think, just about everybody on this call personally. I enjoy working with you. I want to keep working with you. Let's not miss a beat. Let's not miss an opportunity. Lincoln, thanks for spending time with us as well. And think big, guys. Think really, really big. Appreciate you all and have a great night.
Thanks,
Thank
Johnny.
you for all your help, Johnny. You're awesome. Thank you.
Yes. See you guys.
Thank you, Johnny.
I'm afraid to end it because we're recording it. So I'll wait till everybody's off.